It's not because I'm saying it, but it is written here. But I rather want us to look into these places where it states in 20. It says everything that she lies on during her impurity, she be in 15 Leviticus 15:20, verse 20. Everything that she lies on during her impurity, she be unclean also. Everything that she sits on shall be unclean. That is why Naaman, what do you call it? Jacob's wife Rachel used that as a reason why he didn't want to get up from. He says he has a woman thing at that time. He had a period or something, and there's no she can't get up from where she's hidden the items. So she used that as an excuse to stop her father from looking around where the father was trying to accuse Jacob of taking his gods, that his carved image gods with him when he was living. Is it Naaman or whatever his name was, Leho or Naaman? Because if a woman is in such a situation, he's unclean. You can't touch him. You can't touch her, and that kind of thing. So it's stated here clearly that the clothes are bad in the water. When a woman is seen, a woman is seen as unclean. A woman in such a state, you can't touch her bed. You can't touch her bed. You can't touch anything of her because she's unclean until evening. Now we go on to 22. He said, whoever touches anything that she sat on shall wash his clothes and bathe in water and be unclean until evening. Even if you go and touch it, that's how you used to be unclean till evening. The whole day, you're going on a whole day, what do you call it, curfew. If anything is on her bed or anything which you sit on, when he touches it, he shall be unclean until evening. And if anyone lies with her at all, so that her impurity is on him, he shall be unclean 7 days. And every bed on which he lies shall be unclean. Even the bed you lie on will be unclean. If a woman is having a period or that kind, you sleep with her, you are unclean, because at that time women also discharging that and they are unclean. I mean, that is what it's saying here. Now, if a woman has a discharge of blood for many days other than at the time of her customary impurity, or if it runs beyond her usual time of impurity, all the days of her unclean discharge shall be as the days of her customary impurity. She shall be unclean. Every bed on which she lies shall be unclean. In the same manner, it goes on. And when she followed through, she'll be clean later after she's followed through the rules and regulations. I mean, you can imagine all that. I mean, there's a lot. If we go on to Psalm 17, it tells you what makes atonement for the soul. It is in 17 verse 11, Leviticus 17 verse 11, for the life of the flesh is in the blood. The life of your flesh is in the blood. That means the breath that God gave you, or Jehovah put into the human being when he created man. That life he gave you, he breathed into you, it was into your blood, like I was explaining here. So it is stated here in the book that life is in blood. So it is not a spirit that has to come to live inside you. Spirit is another living being. They live their own life. So when the spirit possesses you, then you are in a serious problem. But here it says here, maybe in other areas also it tells you that the spirit come upon you. So that is the contradicting here. Why should a spirit come upon you and live inside you? So there's so many things that is so confusing. But here it tells you from the very beginning, the natural creation of man. It tells you that he puts life in the blood. So he says what? The flesh in the blood, and I have given it to you to you upon the altar to make atonement for your souls, for it is the blood that makes atonement for the soul. So that is why if you make any sacrifice, he makes a blood sacrifice. You put that as a sacrifice. It's the blood that is atoning for your soul, because that's the only way your soul can be have some sort of atonement in whatever situation that you found yourself into, to pay for your sins or your wrongdoing. It is only the blood that you have from an animal or maybe a man or a person. That's how it's done. So the life flesh is in the blood, and have given it as to you upon an altar to make atonement. I mean, if you gave life to me and I do something wrong, then you take another life blood to sort of pay for the wrong thing I did, to pay for the wrong thing that I have done. If I want to pay for my wrongs or my sins, I have to go and get blood from a sheep or something, or cut the sheep and waste that blood, put that blood there in order to atone for my wrong. Why? You think really is really a way that God will do? In all the other rituals, the other spirits and all the other attempts, that's how they do it. So that's understandable. But if you claim Jehovah, if a Christian will claim Jehovah, or a Muslim is claiming Allah to be the ultimate God that they are preaching, and he's also doing the same thing, then what is the difference? What is the difference? That is why I cannot differentiate between any what it is claimed, any group that is being claimed to be seen as occultic and all that. I don't see the difference here. You're also doing the same the occultic people are doing. The atheists or the occultic, or those who are pagans, you call it pagans, are doing. Muslim will claim Christians are pagans. Christians will claim Muslims are pagans. And yes, so you're all doing the same thing. That's what is happening. Now, if we go to 18, it says, immorality is forbidden. Then Moses spoke to what? Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the children of Israel and say to them, I am the Lord your God. Immorality is forbidden. If we go to 6, let's read from 5. 18 verse 5, Leviticus. We are still on Leviticus. You shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, which if a man does, he shall live by them. I am the Lord. If you do those statutes, or then you have to live by it. If you go into any oath with God, you have to live by your oath. You don't return. You don't go back. Whether you go do wedding and you make oaths and promises and all that, you have to live by what you have said. That is who God is. In 6, he says, none of you shall approach anyone who is near of kin to him, to uncover his nakedness. I am the Lord. Now here we're talking about incest. This is the incest thing we are talking about here, or what I pointed out in other videos. Now here, God is saying here that it is not right. It's against his will for you to do what? To approach next of kin, somebody close to you, your close relative, your siblings, anyone close to you. It is wrong to approach such, or to uncover or have sex or immoral thing with that person. To him, to uncover his nakedness, to look at her nakedness, is wrong. I am the Lord your God. You shouldn't do that. In 7, he says again, the nakedness of your father or the nakedness of your mother, you shall not uncover. She is your mother. You shall not uncover her nakedness. This is something that happened in Lot's time. His daughters look at his son or something. Lot time got drunk or something, and his daughters had to sleep with him. I mean, it happened in so many ways in the Bible. This here was wrong. And as we read on, we will see incest practice. Even if we go back to Genesis, you ask yourself, if God was saying here, if God is really the one who said that it is wrong here, then God is this. How did Cain and all these people have their, how did they reproduce? God recreated the human beings again. He recreated women for them. And if he would recreate another woman, he would have done it, taking their rib, putting them to sleep and taking their rib. So they're still going to be the same flesh and blood. But why would they a man coming from flesh and blood. And now here he's saying here that, he's saying here